Welcome to the Spa Girls podcast, the self-publishing podcast for authors. You're in the right place for the best writing, marketing, and publishing advice, plus interviews with industry experts and best-selling authors. I'm Cheryl Phipps.
I'm Shah Barrett.
And I'm Wendy Vella, and welcome everyone. And we have the amazing Lucy Monroe with us today.
Hey,
Yeah,
Lucy.
Welcome,
Hi.
Lucy.
I'm just going to read her bio, and then we'll crack on, and because it's going to be an amazing podcast. USA Today best-selling and award-winning author Lucy Monroe has more than 95 published novels and over 12.5 million copies of her book sold worldwide. Now, can I just take a moment to go, wow?
Yeah.
Her stories, rich with emotion, high heat and high stakes, span contemporary, historical, and paranormal romance. Now publishing independently, Lucy writes the bold, deeply romantic stories she's more passionate about. Her latest series, Syndicate Rules and Syndicate Sins, explore the dark and decadent world of mafia romance, with morally grey heroes, fierce heroines, intrigue, and all the spices fans crave. A voracious reader and long-time romance fangirl, Lucy loves connecting with fellow book lovers online. Welcome, Lucy.
Wow.
Thank you.
So
I'm really
lovely to
excited
have you
to
with
be
us.
here.
We don't have
We
Trudy
just
we don't have Trudels with us today, so
no, we
Yeah.
we're allowed to play
we're
today
just
with
all
the
Hopefully we'll
controls.
behave
We
ourselves, but we
we're all
can't
going
promise.
fast and loose, It'll
we
be all
could go
just like
completely rogue, and Lucy, welcome along for the ride. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm excited.
yeah.
And we've actually
Um,
met Lucy before, haven't we?
we have met Lucy. We met Lucy in 2009 at the
I
conference in
think
New
we worked that
Zealand.
out.
Yeah,
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 in New
which
Zealand.
seems many years
yeah.
ago,
Back in
right?
back in the simple times, right? Doesn't it seem a different world in 2009?
Oh,
Oh, it does. It really, but
way
that
less.
Simpler, I
I love,
think.
I have to say that your conference is one of my all-time favorite romance writing
Oh,
conferences I've
thank you.
ever been to.
Oh,
And
we
I've
loved
gone to a
having you.
ton of RWA and other romance conferences, and I'm like, that's just y'all are friendly and wonderful, and you do great workshops. It was really fun.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
that's
you.
so
It's
nice. Thank you.
great to
Listen,
hear
if
that.
you're all listening out there, don't forget to come next year.
Yeah.
Um, so I know it's been a while since we spoke to you, but would you give us a little bit of a rundown of your origin story? How you got
Sure.
started, what's been happening with you? Just a bit of a catch up. That'd be great.
So I wrote for 9 years and submitted for 9 years, just tons of books, tons of submissions before I sold to Harlequin Presents, which is, I think, Mills and Boone. What is it? Modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in 2002, and my first book came out in 2003. And I connected to Presents readers. It was wonderful. I loved it. And within a year, though, I had sold all of the books I wrote before that to single title publishers as well. So I wrote for, Harlequin, obviously, and Berkeley, and Kensington, and Grand Central, and
Wow. The big
uh,
ones.
yeah, and Sam Hain. I wrote for Sam Hain before they
Mm.
closed because I really believe in small press, and
Yeah.
I took a book back from New York and put it with them because I wanted to see the publishing industry evolve, and it has. Y'all, has it not evolved
Yes.
in the last
My
two
God,
decades?
you just got to hold on. I feel like a cat sometimes on the door,
Yeah,
like just holding on.
yeah.
Mm.
It is. And it's like drinking from the fire hose to get all the information you need, right? Because
Yeah.
it can be super overwhelming.
Yeah.
But really great. And there's so much about it that I love. But I broke up with Trad Publishing in 2021 and went completely indie. And I do say breakup because it was like any breakup, a little bit messy.
Yeah.
Not in a
What
bad.
what was your
Oh, sorry, go
catalyst?
ahead.
What was your reasoning behind that? You just wanted more control or
That it essentially comes down to editorial control
yeah.
and creative control. So the last it, for the first like 15 years in trad publishing, I only got revision notes on maybe 30% of my books. And that's okay. Like I love revisions if they make the books better. But in the next 5 years with Harlequin Presents, they kept asking me to gut books. I mean, cutting out 80% of the book and then adding more because they wanted this or that for marketing and I think the fourth book or fifth book they asked me to do that to, I said, no, I'm
Wow.
not doing this again. And I bought the book back and and we parted ways on good terms. Like, they're like, if you want to come back, I'm like, not going to happen. And not in a, and it's not that I have bitterness towards them. It's just that the publishing industry, especially trad, has really shifted to where marketing has a lot of input on what editorial guidelines are now.
Yeah.
So you'll get feedback on your book, and they'll try, and what I kind of hate the most is they try to couch it in terms of like, readers don't like this, or you made a mistake, you should have written it this way. You know what I mean? They try to put it back on the author, like somehow we made a mistake because they want this other trope in the book. So the book, I'm just gonna, kind of a happy thing. The book was Cinderella's Jilted Billionaire, which did incredibly well when I took it indie. So you can't tell me that readers didn't want that book. They wanted the book.
Okay. Yeah.
But the marketing at HarperCollins / Harlequin was like, oh no, you can't do this, we can't do that. And when I can look back now and see that, you know, it's a juggling act that they do.
Yeah.
And what I don't get is because they often rely on focus groups, which we all know focus groups are small, right? They might be whatever dozen, whatever people. They might even be 2 dozen people. But we have access to our readers. I have several thousand who follow me on social media, and I have several hundred in my reader group. So I would go to my readers and say, hey, is this what you want to see in a romance? Is this like, or are they right? Should I be channeling a less alpha hero for you all? And they're like, no. And what I got back from a lot, right? Well, and I got back a lot of feedback from readers after I moved indie. A lot of the trad readers who had started with me with Presents felt like the brand had been diluted because the alpha heroes had, and this is not a criticism, y'all. Like, I don't read Presents anymore, so I don't know how alpha the heroes are, and I love the authors that write for Presents. I think those ladies are so talented. Many of them are very good friends. So this is not a criticism. All I can say is what I get from my readers and how they're responding to what I know editorial is driving in these books. Because I read a few and then I stopped reading because it was like I could see where the author wanted to go, and I could see I don't know, just like the pullback. You know, that like the door,
see the constraints, the kind of the guardrails kind of thing.
And as an author, you can see that. You can, because you know a good author, you know how good they are delving into motivation and how good these authors are at pulling out really 3-dimensional characters. And when suddenly an author who is so good at that starts to write characters that feel less 3-dimensional, it's not because she isn't talented or isn't doing her job. It's because you can only do so much within a box.
Yeah.
And gosh, I'm gonna probably get in a lot of trouble for what I'm saying. I do not.
No.
Listen, we've got friends that have been through similar experiences, and I think, I mean, I guess from this is just my opinion, is that, you know, the publishers were going through such a massive change as the whole publishing world was, and they probably, I don't want to use the word scrambling, but they're trying to, you know, figure out where they fit in, and maybe
I think it's been going on for a long time, on and off too, because it happened to me. Remember the second book I wrote it, and they said no, it doesn't fit into their tropes.
Yeah.
Right.
Pardon?
And you're like, what?
Where are you coming from with that?
Yeah.
You know? And then it went on to just absolutely kill it when I put it out. But had I, you know, made those changes, I'm not sure the book would have resonated,
No,
you know?
I don't know about you all, but I didn't even, you guys, I'm an instinctive writer. The first time they're like, I want this trope, I'm like, what the hell is a trope? I am sorry. I'm a highly educated woman. I have a master's degree, but I was like, what? What are you talking about? Because like in terms of what we wrote, I don't think in terms of trope. I write the stories I love to read. Then for marketing, I search out the tropes after the book is done. Right.
And with your experience, you're naturally writing tropes now. That's just how we write, right? That's what we do. Yeah.
Because we write what we love to read. And we love to read, like I love Beauty and the Beast. I guess that's a trope, but I love it. And I love to write it. I love to read it. And it's just, but when you take a book and you say to an author, because this like was my favorite, and they thought it was no big deal. well, we really like the last couple of scenes in the book. We'd like to start there.
Oh,
And I was like,
And you just
I don't know
written
what
this
you
book,
think.
poured
Yeah.
yourself into this book, and people that don't write are going to turn
Yeah.
around and tell you, oh, no, no,
but
And-
how
no,
do you
no,
start
no.
at the conclusion? That doesn't seem
Well,
right.
no, it was so antithetical to my creative process.
Mm.
And also, I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I guess because I do have a master's degree in business, I'm like, this is not how it works. I don't write a whole book and then you don't pay me anymore to write you a whole nother book
Yes.
because you don't want the book I just wrote you.
Yeah.
That's
Lucy,
I
how
swear,
did
but that's
you?
not good.
I heard you,
Yeah,
even though
no,
you didn't say
totally.
it.
We filled it in. It's so good.
How did you, as a creative soul, how did you kind of protect that writer without letting that criticism or without letting that affect your confidence, or did it?
It did. It really, really did. For a couple of years, I didn't even know if I was going to stay in romance. And so I wrote a thriller,
Oh.
and I wrote a book that was like a hybrid between cozy historical mystery and really sexy romance. I did a lot of soul searching. I fought this voice in my head telling me I was no longer relevant, like on a daily basis,
Oh, no.
trying to write my stories and believe that there were readers out there that still wanted to read them. And when that's happening, you're not reaching out to your readers because you're so lost, you're so pulled back, you're so sure that nobody wants to hear what you have to say anymore. And so when I finally came back and started connecting to my readers again through my newsletter and through my reader group, the feedback and the support I got was amazing. So I think if there's another author out there that's struggling with her feeling of relevance, reach out, tell your readers, not necessarily, you don't have to bleed on the page for the, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Sure.
tell them, hey, I'm struggling or whatever, or just post whatever post so that allow them to say to you things that they feel and they believe. And then the biggest thing is you have to believe them.
Yeah.
When your readers tell you that you're their favorite author, that they can't wait for that next book to come out, believe it.
That's
And
tough
don't
though,
think
right?
that is so hard. That
We're
is like
so
Powerful
what is the
words,
word?
though.
Sensitive and neurotic and all those things, aren't we? I mean,
Yeah.
you get one bad
Yeah.
review and there's like 70 good ones, and the one bad review is the one that sends you
I don't read them.
spiraling.
That's why we don't read them. No.
I don't read them. I don't read any negative reviews. I'm like, I do see, because I read negative reviews as a reader because I want to see if the triggers in a book are the ones I don't want to read. Like I don't.
Yeah.
If a negative review says this author doesn't know how to write, I ignore it. I'm sorry, because that is such a subjective thing. How author voice and how we write. There are readers that love this style and readers that love this style and whatever. But when they say, "Oh, I really hate it because at the end you really couldn't tell if they were together or not," I'm like,
There's a problem.
Yeah, for me, right? Not necessarily for all the other readers of that book, but for me, it really is. And just recently, I was reading because I was rereading a lot of books by an author, and one of the books I wanted to reread on ebook. I was thinking about buying. It was like $10 for the ebook. So I was like, do I want to get this or not? So I was reading the reviews, and I started off with the 1 and 2 star, and they were talking about this one element that I remembered in the book after. I'm like, oh, that's right. I don't want to read that because that's really going to piss me off all over again. So I'm not going to do that. But so I don't have a problem with readers giving me negative reviews. If you hate my book and you want to write a 1 or 2 star review based on the book and not what you think of me, I have no
Don't
issue
make it
with
personal.
that.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what readers use, both positive, because I read both. I read the positive and the negative reviews to decide if they want to buy a book by an author either they don't trust or haven't read before, right? I think all of us have had the experience where you have favorite authors that suddenly start writing a very different story than the one that you like. Their themes change or their style changes or whatever, and that's totally fine. But you stop trusting them because, like, I had an author who I loved her books, just loved her books, and then she wrote a book with a total cliffhanger. and there's no warning that there's going to be a cliffhanger. And I hate cliffhangers. I have one book I've ever written with a cliffhanger, and it's only because it's a prequel. I wrote the book, and you can't not, the central love story has a resolution, but the secondary love story continues in the next book. But there's a warning at the top of the book page for that. It says this book has because I hate them. So I don't. And actually, I love this author. I love her to death as a human being. And I thought I could read her next story. I haven't been able to make myself read another book by her
because you trust in her process.
Right. And so when you go to read the reviews too, if you can't tell if the next book is a cliffhanger, I won't trust it. So but it doesn't mean what she writes is wrong.
No, that's exactly right. And that's a good thing for people to hear. Everyone has their own opinion when they're, about everything. And that's what we've put ourselves out there for that to happen. And so we have to understand it's going to happen. So how did you get yourself back on track and decide to go down the self-publishing route?
Well, I had books because I'd already bought back 2 books from Harlequin. And the final one was when I canceled the contracts. I didn't have any more books due. So I had these books that wanted to be published that I wanted to give. So I went ahead and put those books out. And I think part of me coming back was how well they did and how much positive response I got from readers for the books that the publisher said readers don't want anymore. And then I think things kind of just sort of like plugged along for about a year. And then I read at the end of 2023, my first mafia romance by an author I'd never read before, because I'd read a mafia romance by a friend, Alex Voynov, and I loved the book, but I love his writing, so I didn't think it was mafia romance that got me. But I read a book by Kate C. Wells, Run, Posey, Run, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I sort of started glomming mafia romance, and I discovered Cora Riley and Neva Altaj and Michelle Hurd and a lot of other mafia romance authors. I read in that last month, in the first like 2 or 3 months of 2024, I read over 250, almost 300 mafia romances.
Wow.
And then my muse would not shut up. I carried a journal with me all the time, constantly writing down story ideas. And then I started writing them, and I started like 5 at the same time and sort of winnowed it down to working on 3, and then just working on 2, finishing 1, and then finishing the rest of those 5. And it's just been a really positive experience. I really love writing mafia romance, and my readers, I had so many readers I did not think would follow me into mafia romance. So that was really great. I was
just going to ask, yeah.
But I had a bunch that didn't. I had a bunch that were like, okay, no, we can't. We're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's totally okay, because like I said, I don't mind if another author changes. I recognize I'm not necessarily going to follow them to where their change takes them.
Yeah, exactly.
But doesn't mean that what they're writing isn't awesome for someone else.
Yeah.
And that is, I have also picked up a lot of new readers and I've made friends that are new and wonderful. And it's been really neat because the indie author community is really open. I do notice it's been kind of interesting because there's like a group of indie authors, like you just sort of plug away, you do your thing, it's not about ego. It's not about, and then there's the it girls, it's like, and you just kind of like, just step back and let them do their thing. Because it was kind of like in high school.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you just kind of let those.
Just they're over there.
Their thing. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
you just kind of do your thing because I write because I love to write. And I write because I love to connect to readers. So if somebody tells me I have to write a book every other month in order to be a success, I'm like, how do you define success?
Yeah.
Because it's not how I do, and it's okay. If money is your number one priority, our definition of success are different. It doesn't mean theirs is wrong. It just means it's not okay for me. It doesn't work for me.
I think that narrative is changing slightly a little bit now too. I think there's been a bit of author burnout, and with that whole got to write, got to release every month, I think, and I think that's just sort of people are realizing now for longevity, right? We have to really look after ourselves.
It's funny. The biggest thing I get, the biggest question I get is, how do I keep doing this? How do I make this sustainable? How do I keep going? And I have mentored more burnt out authors, chatted with, counseled, whatever, since going indie than I did in trad. And in trad, there are plenty of burnout authors, but indie, you are doing two things. You are a publisher and you are a writer. And that really works for some of us. And it really, really is hard for some of us. So and when you listen to the noisy voices telling you that you have to do a certain thing in order to be a success, it's always like everybody else is doing it. But it's just like in high school. What you mean is everybody in this little group of 5 people over here is doing it. But guess what? Everybody else is not doing it. And whenever you hear as an author that you have to do these things outside of writing a book, right? You have to do character art. You have to do translations. You have to do in-person book signings. That's a huge one in the indie author community, right? There's that big thing, book 2 years in advance. Fastest way to burn out an introvert, which a lot of authors are, is to book all of these events and go. And then your brain is fried at the end of like that.
You end up chasing your tail and you're not actually doing what you need to do.
And when do you write?
Writing. I was going to say,
that's it, right?
That's right, Chair. You know, like the writing is the key, right?
It is.
Nothing is going to tell you sometimes secondary, isn't it? Sometimes.
Oh, for sure. It is so hard to keep the writing. And it's not just in indie, because when I was in trad publishing, I did a lot of my own promotion. You have to, if you want, excuse me, to retreat, because publishers are not going to do it for you. And I know people have got this idea that publishers are going to promote them, right? They don't. Like
I see that on forums all the time. You know, I just want to write and sell it to a trad pub and they'll do all the marketing. And I'm thinking, no.
Wrong answer.
Be nice, but
Can I
unless
ask,
you're on that top billing, the vast majority are still doing their own, you know, newsletter and
3%.
social media.
Exactly. Can I ask, you know, I know you write a lot of different genres, and I guess you've got some pen names, but I know you write a lot under your name. No pen names?
I had LC Monroe when I wrote a couple of inspirationals way back in the day, which I wouldn't do again, y'all. So that's just where I'm at. I'm in a different place.
We'll put those over there. So Lucy, how do you, like, I have 2 pen names. I know Cher has 2 pen names. Cheryl Shah does too. How do you differentiate between the two? Because you've got different, I mean, chances are paranormal wouldn't read historicals / what's the name? How do you keep all of that sort of balls in the air?
So what you find when you write with, first of all, when I was getting bought by Berkeley and by Kensington, and that was different than my Harlequin Presents, a friend of mine got me in touch with Jane Ann Krentz, and I was really lucky to have a conversation with her and ask her about pen names. And she said if she had it to do over again, she would have stuck with one.
I remember reading that about her,
And so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I just started from the very beginning. I promoted each book as it was, always letting all my readers know what I did and what I found, because I would do like surveys and stuff. You know, you have this concurrent circles. You have a circle here, the circle here, the circle here, and this little place in the middle is where all those readers read all of your books. But then there's a big chunk of readers over here that only read paranormal, a big chunk over here that only read longer contemporary, and a big chunk over here that only read short contemporary. And within those contemporaries, there's ones that like suspense and don't like suspense. Those are the things I write. So that's why I'm bringing those up. And I just market them. I just don't stress about getting everybody on my newsletter list to read every book. I do keywords, and at the beginning of my newsletters, I always kind of let them know what I'm talking about. So if they're a paranormal romance reader and they're not interested in mafia, I will say I was really surprised by the overlap between paranormal and mafia and the overlap between presents and mafia romance. I thought there'd be a bigger overlap between my regular single titles and my mafia romance. But my early presents were definitely morally gray heroes. And so that resonates with readers. They don't necessarily like the violence on the page, and that's why some of them won't follow me there. But the heroes are essentially the same guys. Except, I mean, it's just like, it cracks me up. How can you, I got this one reader, she sent me that, how can you write about and glorify mafia And I'm like, you've been reading my billionaires for years. Are you trying to tell me you think billionaires are decent human beings? Okay.
What did she say to that?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't say that to her.
No,
I'm just like,
but
if
you're
you don't
thinking
like mafia, that's what I'm going to write. So don't follow my newsletter anymore. I mean, that's what I say. I'm like, I'm totally okay with her not reading me, but it just shocks me how people are okay to suspend belief, because I write billionaires that I can love. So of course they're good guys.
Yeah.
But they're not the guys that are billionaires in the news right now.
No,
They're not.
no.
Thank
Or
goodness.
have been for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, those billionaires were not nice guys or honorable guys. You know, they weren't the guys making the better place. But those are the guys I write. Oh, I hate this I'm sorry. It goes in and out on the
That's all right.
iPad.
No,
don't worry.
Sorry about
don't worry.
But so my mafia guys all live by their own code of honor.
Yeah.
And do they do bad things? Yes, they absolutely do. But there's also mafia justice, which is one of the reasons I love the genre so much, because gosh, there's so much in life right now that there's no accountability for. There are so many people in positions of power that are getting away with things that are not okay. So when I write my mafia books, I get to write
what you
that those
want.
kinds of bad guys get it. You know? They
They get their comeuppance.
Or that redemption arc or whatever.
Right. Because you can absolutely redeem, but you can also like
make something nasty happen to them. In a nice way.
It's really fun it's really fun to be able to write. It's like, I'm not going to say, oh, I love writing the torture scenes or anything, but I don't have a problem writing them.
Only on a podcast about romance would you be talking like this, right?
Right. Oh my gosh, my search history this last week was over the top. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you've had is there any negative to not changing your name, or it's just all been positive to you? You wouldn't regret it in any way?
I don't regret it at all.
No.
I think I do see people who like write under different pseudonyms, and what I see a lot is that they find one pseudonym is more successful than the other, and they make the assumption that it's a good thing then that they only write that pseudonym, or that they broke the pseudonyms off. But my experience is that if one thing like mafia romance does really well, it's still going to drive readers to my other stuff if they know I write it. If they don't know I write it, it isn't going to drive them, because I have a certain, like, every time a new book comes out, all of my backlist, all of it, so whether it's paranormal or whatever, has a boost. And I will sell through an entire series, all the series, because there are readers who love your voice and want to read those stories.
Whatever you read.
And whether or not they're the majority of the thing, it's always a good thing if you can get even a little bit of the mafia readers to read your backlist over here. And it's if you can get the paranormal romance readers to read your backlist over here. And because I honestly, for me, I can't juggle. I could not juggle social media for more than one pen name. I am so glad I did not go with multiple pen names, because I find it overwhelming to keep up with social media for just me.
I can hear you.
And I couldn't do newsletters for two pen names. Because I find it hard enough to keep up with my newsletters as it is. It's that kind of content and that kind of how much we have to put of ourselves out there. It would be I would burn out real fast if I was trying to support more than one career, which is basically what having two pen names is, as I'm sure you know, right? So there's a lot of extra work involved in that. So no, I don't regret it at all. I don't.
Well, that's good.
I think that's great.
So your process, how long are your books? Are they all sort of around the same? How long's a piece of string?
Right? Oh, yes, exactly. I always think I'm going to write shorter than I do. And this might have been one of the problems Writew presents, because back in the day when it was okay to go 5,000 words over, that was not a problem. But when they had this really strict thing, and they're like, you have to cut scenes or whatever, because you have to be at 53,000 words. That was the magic number. And I was like, the story is much better at 58. It's a much better book. So I start writing a single title thinking it's going to be 70 to 80,000 words. And was it Brutal Capo or Forest Vows? One of those 150,000 words.
Wow.
So Yeah. They are just as
Wowzers.
long as they have to be. And so sometimes I write like novellas, and they are novellas, and sometimes I haven't been able to write a 60,000 word book since Her Greek Billionaire, which is the last billionaire story I wrote. However, I'm working on another billionaire story, and it's probably going to be shorter. It just feels like those plots are shorter because they don't have the secondary, plot. Like with mafia, you have the mafia intrigue or suspense, whatever, right? And then with the paranormal romance, I usually write a suspense element with those two. So those takes words. It takes word count to have like that kind of a thing.
So how do you decide how you write the books in a year? Like how many books do you write in a year, and how do you flick between the genres?
Well, I used to keep it up. Like I would do one paranormal, one contemporary single title, and 2 presents a year. That's like how I did it. When I moved to mafia romance, I warned my readers, I am going to write until this muse is not burnt out, but not driving me so hard. So that's what I did. So like within a year and a half, I wrote over 750,000 words of mafia romance.
Wow.
And then, but definitely slowed down. This year I've had one single title come out, and one, I had a novella that I wrote that was really short for last year for a special. And then I increased it by like 20,000 words and put it out again for Christmas in July. But that's it for new stuff for this year. And then next year, I think I'll have a lot more because I'm working on 3 books right now because they're all connected. And when you read them, you can read them as standalones, but I can't write them as standalones or I'll get something wrong. So I have to,
How do you do that?
So what I'm doing, it's a lot of work, but I start with the one book and I write all the scenes that are coming and then I switch the scenes into the other book that they're supposed to go in. And then I write an abridged version in the other books so that as they're happening concurrently, you have the abridged from different points of view, which is, readers have told me several times they love getting the different points of view for those scenes. Because it's like this person is thinking an entirely different thing. And we're not just talking about the hero and the heroines, but like the 2 different heroes really see this thing differently.
I tell you, my eyes just crossed. I was just
like, my mind just went, whoa.
No, I get it. I get it. Because it would be easier to write it at the same time because you're not having to go back and reread what that person there was wearing, what color tie they had on or whatever, and what they were eating. So no, I totally get that.
I really just follow my muse too. In answer to your question, it's sometimes I go and I write, okay, I'm going to write a billionaire romance now, and then I'm going to slip over to mafia romance the next time, because sometimes you need a break, right? Your brain needs a break. And that's kind of where I was at before I had a burst appendix this summer. I was writing a billionaire romance, trying to get it done. It's still sitting undone on my hard drive because I ran out of time and almost died. And it was a thing. It was
inconvenient.
That's not good.
No.
But it's all good now. And I'm good now. But it was a hard few weeks. I lost a lot of work time and a lot of just everything. Right. So,
do you think you work harder now you're self-published? Because you're working for yourself?
I think you have to. I think it's because you still have to write the same amount of words. And even though I always did promotion, it's not the promotion that you don't think about doing. It's the admin, formatting the books, cover creation. I do my own covers because I hired a lot of covers designers and they did really good job. But I had if I wanted something tweaked or I wanted a different size or they would charge me for every new iteration of the cover. And I'm like, and I like to do graphic arts. So I taught myself how to do covers. Now, I'm not saying they're the best covers in the world, but they sell my books, right? So I'm not really worried about that. I'm not looking to get an award for my covers or to win any reader. Or, you know what I mean? Like, as long as they stop the scroll and readers are like, oh, that's a mafia book, or oh, that's a billionaire book, or whatever, then that's good, and they'll pick it up. But all of that takes time. That takes time that you just don't think about, because the promotion stuff, that's all there. That's all the same. Write the books, do the promotion. That's all the same. Get editorial input and do your revisions. That's all the same.
Do you Do you have
There's a
someone
whole element
helping
of it.
you? Do you have someone?
I
Sorry.
do hire. I have a he calls himself my promo tech, and he's like an admin slash promo slash tech guru, and he does a lot of stuff for me. But he's only got part-time hours available. I can only afford part-time hours. I mean, it's I believe in paying people what they're worth, and that means sometimes you end up doing it yourself because you can't afford to pay someone $30 an hour to do this thing over here or whatever, right? So, but yeah, I do have help now. For a while, I didn't have any help at all, and that was okay until I got really into. There's the hardback version. There's the paperback version. All of that formatting has to be done. He does all the formatting for me now, so that's really great because he just uses my Atticus account, which is similar to Vellum if you guys do app or whatever. And that's really helpful. He does all the uploads to Ingram Spark, and he just created for me a storefront that's going live in a couple of weeks that I sell off of my website. So then all those books are from what is it called?
Book Vault?
Yes, Book Vault. And then also Book Funnel for the ebooks I took out of KU and are wide. So he set that up. So he does all of that. But no one else is allowed to touch your Amazon account, right? You could lose your Amazon account. So I have to do, and I wouldn't want them anyway, because all the info that's on there is so proprietary. It's like my tax stuff and my and my income. I don't want anybody knowing income. It's not their business.
Exactly.
So I have to do all the stuff with Amazon. It's a lot. As you guys know, it's a lot. That admin and that.
Are you exclusive?
Go ahead.
Are you exclusive?
Are any of your pen genres exclusive with Amazon? I know the ones that obviously the mafia is not if you're putting them on your store, but have you got anything else?
Well, the exclusive ebooks. So
the
mafia are exclusive to ebooks. None of my paperbacks are exclusive, and I just put all the hardbacks up on Ingram Spark. But I just took by the end of the year, I'll have taken maybe 15 books out of KU because they just weren't making any money on the KU page read, so they might as well go wide and start to build up that I don't know, that base again for my readers.
But there's another job, for the admin. I mean, that's another back end. A lot of it is production, what I can describe as production jobs.
And I think
that's a good one. Sorry.
I think our listeners would be quite interested in the fact that you coming from a traditional to a hybrid or self-publishing, that means you would have had to find editors. That would be a big thing.
Yeah.
Did you have any contacts or?
I highly recommend my editor, Andy, at Beyond the Proof. She's out of Canada, so I think it's beyondtheproof.ca is what it's her website is. She is an amazing editor. My books are better because of her. I've had 12-page revision letters from her. I've had 3-page revision letters from her. I take almost, I'd say 80% of her advice, which for me is big. That's the fact that I'm willing to change that many things because she's just spot on. She gets my voice. She reads the books that came before it. This is something that traditional publishing has stopped doing. Is reading the books that came before in a series. So they aren't editing you for consistency. She does. So it's totally worth it. But did I go through some not so happy dates with other editors before that? Yes. And that doesn't mean those editors weren't great. In fact, I would highly recommend both editors that I used before. They just really don't work for me. How they edit didn't work for me. And my very first editor, Harlequin, was Kim Young. She's now a publisher for HarperCollins, right? And her editing style is still my favorite editing style. And that's what Andy does. It's a very hands-off, here's some ideas, here's inconsistencies, look at the big picture. She doesn't try to change my voice or how I say things or, you know what I mean? And Kim didn't do that either. And I flourished under Kim. Like writing for her was easy. Then I'd get editors who argued with me about how many penises I could have in the book. And I was just like, I don't know how to work with you. So,
and the thing is, when you've been writing as long as we have, right, you know that you know your process, you know how it works, you know what you're doing. You just want someone to polish, and just point out. You don't want someone to tell you to rewrite unless it's necessary.
You know what? I'm really bad at timelines. Like I suck
Same.
at them.
Put my hand up for that.
Right? So Andy is really good at timelines, and she will say, well, by the way, this couldn't happen here if you got this thing over here, because these timelines don't. She's just brilliant. Like her mind is a steel trap. She's got all that down. And she does make the last book, Sins of Arrogance, I added 20,000 words after I got her revision notes. And it's and it was totally worth it. It was the book did better than all of my other books before, so I'm really excited about that. But then she went back and reread it, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, my mind is blown. I love your revisions." And I'm like,
"Oh,
yes!
That's so cool."
Yeah.
But it was really, really good. Everything she said was so spot on, and the book is so much richer for her commentary. She doesn't say, "Oh, you should try this trope," or "Have you thought about doing this because the market's really," because that was one of the editors I got that I knew I could never work with, because she was like, well, in the mafia romance, there's a certain number of love scenes. I think you should insert at least 2 or 3 more love scenes in your book. That never works for me. Yeah. Someone tells me to insert a scene for no other reason than that's what's selling.
Yeah, to make up.
I'm like,
yeah. No.
If you want to tell me that you want to say, oh, I don't get their physicality, it's not making sense to me, I feel like you need to flesh that out. I'll absolutely look at fleshing that out and putting a love scene in to express how they are together physically, right? But don't ever tell me that marketing is the reason I should do anything in a book, because I will automatically be like, nope.
So with your marketing, what are you doing? Your Facebook ads or Amazon ads? I mean, you've obviously got an email newsletter. Did you build that while you were at Trad Pub?
I did. I built my email list when I was at traditional publishing, but I will say it was at over 35,000. And then it is now, I culled a lot of stuff, and a lot of readers dumped me when I went to Mafia Romance. So at that point, I'd already culled it down to like 15,000. And then I lost almost 70% of those readers who like unsubscribed because they didn't want to like read what I'm writing now. But I'm already back up to over like 12,500 or whatever. So I've already one of the things I do, and I highly recommend, and I know that everyone has different views on bonus scenes. I write bonus content for my books, and the only people who have access to it are people on my newsletter list. And at the end of every book is, if you want to read the bonus scene for this book, join my newsletter list.
It's the best way. It's the best way to get a sign up, right?
Yeah. And I do newsletter builders through Written Word Media. They're really affordable, and for me, they have been very effective.
Yeah.
I also do newsletter builders through BookFunnel, but I'm real careful about the ones I do through BookFunnel, because if the newsletter builder, you guys, I won't sign up for something that says that they don't accept gay romance, or they don't accept any kind of subgenre of romance.
Yeah.
I won't, because I won't participate in that.
No,
I'm like, nope.
No.
And anything that says that they do accept sweet romance, I'm like, no, those readers are not going to want to read my books.
Exactly.
Yeah. My books might be heartwarming, but they're not sweet.
Yeah.
So, but I do a lot of, I still believe in doing newsletter builders. I just joined a mafia romance mastermind for newsletters that we're going to work on building each other's newsletters over the next year and doing spotlights. I love that. I highly recommend, and have done since the beginning of my trad publishing career, author collaboratives. So any kind of author collaboratives for promotion and writing, just to do a group together for an anthology or whatever.
How did you find that one? Were they people that you already knew, authors that you already knew, Lucy? How would somebody get into that kind of thing?
There's so many different ways. How it happened for me is I had invited, when I had a good friend, and then another woman that's in the club I had invited to participate in an anthology I created last year at the end of the year for Mafia Romance. And it was basically set up so that it was exclusive for the KU term, so 3 months, and then it went off, and they could then publish those novellas anywhere they wanted to after that. So so that those connections made it possible. They invited me to join them, and I'm excited to see how it goes, because there's a different perspective. Like everyone, again, the marketing versus the creative. I'm really focused on the creative side of writing, and marketing is important, but I won't let it drive what I write.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of authors out there that marketing drives what they write and when they write it.
For sure.
And they're good. They're super good at what they do. So I'm like, you do it. But I don't do a lot of collabs. And this collab seems to be a lot of those authors are very marketing driven in a really good way. But just not, it's going to be interesting to see like how that kind of goes. I do marketing. I just, it can't drive my creativity, because then I just get burnt out. I just like.
So you do Facebook ads or Amazon ads?
I do. I do Facebook ads. I do Amazon ads, but I will say, I have written blogs about this, and I'm just going to say it here. Anyone who tells you, and there's so many, because I took so many courses on Amazon ads, and they always say, they say in the course, Amazon doesn't make money unless you make money, so they want your ads to do well. That is such junk. That is not true. Amazon makes every penny of your ads off of you, regardless of whether or not you sell another book for them. It is true that Amazon doesn't make money unless all of their sellers make money, because if you're not buying anything off of their site, they're not going to make money. But they don't care if they make the money from you or the guy over here. Right? So Amazon ads are still very much, I took their, they invited me to participate in their accelerated ad program. And that was a total bust. And I was able to get, they were very kind. My ad manager fought for me to get a refund, because they completely ignored me about how I set up ads, because I do write under so many different genres. I use my own name as a negative search term on Amazon ads, which is totally antithetical to what everybody tells you to do in your ads, right? But if people are using, when you put it in as a search term, Amazon shows paranormal romance to your mafia romance readers, even though the ad is specifically for mafia romance books.
Right.
And they'll show your mafia romance books to your paranormal romance readers. And while there is a crossover there, it's not worth paying for. And paying a lot for to maybe get that. So I highly recommend, if you write more than one subgenre, that you do a negative keyword for either the pen name for that subgenre, for the subgenre itself, for your own name, whatever. And anyway, I'm not keen. I'm not keen on Amazon ads. I still am trying to figure out a way to make them as successful as I think they should be.
I think they're a bit harder than they used to be.
A lot.
I think there was a lot more traction before than there is now.
The algorithms have really changed, and it's frustrating, and I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually, but right now it's kind of messy.
They've changed again recently, and it's
just so frustrating. But I do love Facebook ads. I think those are clever. You have to watch them. I don't think you have to watch them every week like people tell you to, but you do have to keep an eye on them, because there's such thing as ad fatigue, right? The ads will just get tired, and you have to update and put in an ad. I have done ads on BookBub, and those can be really good. But there are subgenres that do better on BookBub than others. Right. So mafia romance, my ads there never do anything. But my ads for my billionaire romance do really well on BookBub. So test your ads out. Reddit is now doing ads. And Reddit is a huge community for readers. So I'm actually looking into right now creating Reddit ads.
Because
I think that is something.
I've heard of that.
I would.
And another place that a lot of authors don't advertise is Pinterest. But Pinterest advertising is not expensive. It's like not even a quarter of the cost of my Meta or my, for the exposure that I get. And it does move. It moves the needle, not hugely, but it keeps me out there. Like, Pinterest isn't the biggest place for books, right? That's not a huge book community, but Pinterest itself is not a social media outlet. People who tell you have to like and comment on other people's pins in order to be effective on Pinterest, that's such baloney.
I was going to say, are you active on there?
Yeah,
as a
no.
pinner?
Yeah, I put pins on. I put pins of my books on. I put like, I don't go in and repin other people's pins unless I'm creating an inspiration board for a character or whatever. But it is a SEO driven search engine. That is what Pinterest is.
Yeah.
100%, right? I heard that in an ad. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally what it is. It is not social media. You don't have to worry about talking to anybody else on Pinterest. It is not, it's like putting up an ad. A pin is like putting up an ad, but you're not paying for it unless you decide to pay for it to boost. Like, and that's how kind of, there's two different kinds of ads on Pinterest, right? If you have your own storefront, you can run ads that actually have a buy now feature on them that show up on the page.
Yeah.
Or you run an ad that uses the pins that you've already done and it shows it more frequently when certain keywords and stuff come up.
Yeah.
And I will go in and I'll check and I'll be like, well, this pin isn't doing very good, so I'll take it out of the ad or whatever. I usually put up to like 5 pins in an ad and I run it for like $5 a day. That's all. I don't like take the thing and do more. But as that, you know, that part of the funnel where you're trying to get exposure, it's a really cheap way to fulfill that exposure function.
Yeah.
You can fulfill exposure on Amazon or on Facebook, but it's a lot more expensive. Those ads, I feel like, need to have a return on investment.
Yeah.
Whereas my Pinterest ads, I can afford to run those simply as advertising for that part of the funnel, the top part of the funnel.
Keeping you relevant. Yeah.
So,
wow, that's so cool. So cool. Well, I think we're sort of cranking in on closing time.
Yeah.
Do you girls have anything more you want to pick Lucy's brains about?
A lot more, but I stop there. Lucy, if somebody's listening to this and just maybe feeling a little, what's the word? They're just maybe.
Oh, I think
we just lose Shay?
I think her question was, do you have one bit of really some advice that you think is really important to our listeners or authors in general?
Especially if they're starting in their self-publishing journey.
Yeah. The most important thing I think you can do is ask yourself why you write, because that will determine how you approach self-publishing, how you approach traditional publishing. There's so many different roads you can go down, and I could tell you my road, excuse me, and that's not necessarily going to be your road. But if you know why you write, that will determine what road you take.
Yeah.
And it will help you decide, am I a marketing driven writer? Am I not a marketing driven writer? Where do I want to be in this? Do I want to be mid-list? If you're driven by accolades, you're going to have a much different trajectory, right? Than someone who is driven by, say, creative expression or, and don't ever judge someone else's reason for writing, whether it's pure money or pure recognition. We don't get to judge that. We only get to look at ourselves and say, why do I do what I do?
I think, and that's what an author once told me, stay in your lane, you know. You know, just you do you.
I add to that with the stay in the lane. There will always be somebody in the lane next to you that's going faster and in the lane next to you that's going slower. So just don't worry about the faster or the slower or think you're better than or less than. Just focus and get where you're going. In your lane.
Yeah, great
it's
advice.
Your journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it is your journey. That's right. And no one can write the books but you. You know,
that's right. That's your books are you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to get hold of you, Lucy, where's the best place?
If they want to do social media, I'm mostly on Facebook. Like I'm active on there, and join my group because I'm always there to answer questions. But I read all the comments on my Facebook posts. So if they want to contact me, and I also have like I finally turned the instant messenger function back on after years. Because you remember back in the day, Facebook, you know, all those weird guys, and it's like, turn it off.
Yeah.
But you can, and then you can contact me, excuse me, I'm sorry, directly off of my website.
Yeah.
So the contact form.
That's lucymonroe.com, is it?
Yep, lucymonroe.com. And just go to the contact form if somebody wants to ask me a question or tell me something or whatever.
We'll have all those
Awesome.
links when the
We'll put all
podcast
those
goes up
links,
anyway.
and you can get us
Yeah.
with Spy at spygirls.com pretty much anywhere. And of course, we're on Patreon.
Yes.
So if you want to pop over and buy us a coffee or join our Facebook group, then we'd love to have you.
Full of good
But
advice
yeah,
and
we try to be full of good
snippets.
advice. I'm not actually sure
I love it.
it's always true. So thank you so much for listening to us today. And we'll be back next week. And a huge thank you to Lucy. And
Thank
we
you.
will
Been great.
see you all again soon.
Take
Bye for
care.
Be
now.
well.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.